or no meaning at all. I personally did not have one a couple of years ago until I went to a doctor's appointment and they had told my mom that I needed to get on a diet due to me gaining some weight. That was the start of an unhealthy relationship with me and my food. When I started doing my own research on an eating disorder, I came across an article from NAAD.gov that stated about 29 million Americans suffer from an eating disorder once in their life. An eating disorder is a mental and health illness that has to do with eating habits and an overall distress physically and mentally. There are multiple types of eating disorder, but today I'll be discussing the two more common ones, binge eating and restrictive eating. The first eating disorder I'll be explaining is bulimia nervosa, also known as binge eating. This is the most common type of eating disorder, according to the National Institute of Mental Health.gov. The technical explanation for binge eating is when people have frequent episodes where they eat unusually large amount of food, which is why when people binge eat, they tend to be overweight. According to the National Institute of Mental Health.gov, when people fall under these eating disorders, it's sometimes followed with behaviors such as forced vomiting or other unhealthy forms of trying to get the food out of your body, and overall causes mental health problems, but we'll get to that later. The other form of an eating disorder is restrictive eating. Restrictive eating is when people limit the amount of food that they eat a day to the point where they aren't getting enough calories or enough nutrients to overall maintain basic body function. People tend to go through this eating disorder in a sense to lose weight, which is very unhealthy ways, according to, again, the National Institute of Mental Health.gov. The symptoms consist of very unhealthy appetite, which makes picky eaters, such as children or adults, fall into this eating disorder, according to the National Institute of Mental Health.gov. Now that you know what these two eating disorders are, how can this necessarily affect you? An eating disorder can take a toll on your physical health. One way is coping with stress by binge eating. Since binge eating may result in weight gain, it can be unhealthy for your physical health. The reason it may result in weight gain is because having a binge eating disorder is having a sense of lack of control when it comes to eating, according to the nationaleatingdisorders.org. This also results in a decrease on your mental health. And according to NCAO, adults that experience weight gain have a 55% higher risk of being depressed over a lifetime, Like I said, I'll get back to later. Another form of physical toll is stress caused by a lack of appetite. Unconsciously, losing your appetite leads to problems such as lack of vitamins and essentials your body needs. A common start to restrictive eating disorder is wanting to lose weight and restrict food in a very unhealthy way, states healthline.com, which is why purposely losing your appetite leads to having a restrictive order and why 3 out of 10 people looking for weight loss treatments develop this form of disorder. Apart from an eating disorder taking a toll on your physical health, it can also take a toll on your mental health. Constantly worrying about your food, whether you weigh too much or you feel guilty for doing that, is what causes those unhealthy relationships with food. 50 to 75% of those that struggle with an eating disorder tend to feel symptoms as depression, as it starts with the guilt feeling of eating too much, says eatingdisordershope.com. Eating too much junk food can also lead to constantly feeling tired and overall cause a negative mindset. For some, it may cause depression and later lead to other negative feelings, which is why, according to NAAD.org, an eating disorder is among the deadliest mental illnesses. Apart from guilt, one feels when eating too much, it also comes with the standards society has set. Meeting the beauty standards of being a certain size or underweight or under a certain weight isn't always achievable, and comes with the feelings of not feeling good enough. I came across an article that stated 81% of 10-year-olds are afraid to be fat, along with 51% of third-grade girls wanting to be thinner, according to NAAD.org. These standards don't just affect affect adults, but children and teenagers as well. Another article from NAAD.org stated that 35 to 57% of the girls engaging in trash dieting and self-induced vomiting to maintain a certain beauty standard. All in all, an eating disorder is an illness that should be consulted with a professional, as self-diagnosed isn't recommended to anyone. An eating disorder has to do with unusually eating large amounts of food or losing your appetite, leading to health problems or mental health problems. An eating disorder is overall a mental and physical illness that has to do with eating habits that is distressed physically and mentally. Now, don't assume you have an eating disorder because you caught yourself stress eating every now and then, because I sure do. If you're concerned, just know it can be treated like any other disorder.